Coach Pearl, in your words, what does family value mean to you?
Family values mean love, support, um, unconditional love for one another through the good and bad. Your family is always the one that's going to be there. That's your foundation throughout life. Um, Whenever, the trials and tribulations, the ups and downs through life, your friends may come and go, but you can always lean and depend on your family. So that's your rock, that's your foundation, and that's your unconditional support network, love group that you will always cherish until you leave this earth.
Coach, in your opinion, who has actually been that rock and that foundation supporting you through this football career?
But initially, my mother, but she passed away in 2001. So since then, it's been my wife, Cedric Pearl. She's been there for me, especially during my first head coaching job at Central State University, and during my time at Alabama A&M. Seeing the highs and lows, the victories, loving you through the criticism. Sometimes you doubt yourself when you're at home by yourself about what you're doing, and you always need that support. So I just really appreciate my wife, Danita, and my daughter too, Shanice. That's always there for me. Always got a shoulder to cry on.
Coach, as a head football coach and assistant head football coach, what has been most challenging opportunities or advantages and disadvantages that you have to go through?
The advantages are great. Coaching football gives you an opportunity to work with young men, and that's what I've always wanted to do my whole life. Mentor young adults, and that's the biggest reward. The victories and the championships are outstanding. Don't get me wrong, but the biggest reward is those young men that you get a chance to help develop from the time they walk in the door until they graduate, and even the ones that don't graduate. The advantage of being a head coach is something professionally that you strive for. As a young coach, when you first start out, everyone has that ambition to be a head coach, to lead a program. Is a wonderful thing. You get a chance to implement your philosophies and see if they work, if you can make those, if you can make the program to championship level, if you have all the resources that you need. So it's always great to see your plan in action, and I think that's the biggest thing of being a head coach and leading the staff, the students, and the university, and being an ambassador for HBCU football.
Do you think football and business are separate at this time?
No, football is big business. A big business for our country, big business for a lot of universities around the country. Football, in terms of athletics at the collegiate level, is the breadwinner for every athletic department in the country. You have some athletic departments, for example, maybe Duke, where, of course, basketball is the main sport. Then maybe UConn, where the women's basketball team is the main sport. But for the most part, football is big business. At the Power 5 level, we're talking about with the coronavirus now, the biggest obstacle is that $4 billion that the Power 5 will generate if they play this season. And if they don't play this season, the $4 billion that they will lose. And even at the lower levels, you're talking about the millions of dollars that's generated either through game guarantees or games or fans coming out and alums coming to the games, enjoying the games, and donating back to their prospective universities. So football obviously is a big business that generates a lot of money for the universities and the coaches as well, because a lot of coaches, as we know, have some outstanding salaries, and that's a direct reflection of the TV contracts and the sponsorships that are afforded to the universities, that especially the ones that get all of the exposure on national TV. So you can't separate the two, football and business. They're all one.
So, Coach, in your opinion, how big is networking from a football standpoint? Let's say a college graduate graduates. He gets his degree. He might be offered an opportunity to go to the NFL. How important is networking for the individual to definitely move to the next level into the future?
That's the beauty of college. Um, you come from a small town. Let's say you go off to college, you meet a whole new network of people, and you're in school with those your friends or your peers that you meet from your freshman year to your senior year, or even if you go to graduate school. And that's a whole new web of friends you've built, that once everyone graduates and leave the college, everyone goes to different parts of the United States. So you could be anywhere and know someone, or be able to connect with someone that'll help you. Networking was the original Facebook, before the internet. You had to pick up the phone or write a letter to reach out and stay in contact with your peers. But networking is essential, and that's the biggest thing about college. You get an opportunity to meet people from different countries and different states, and learn different cultures, and make friendships that last a lifetime. And that's one of the greatest things about going to college, because once you get that degree, it's just like anything, it's who you know more so than what you know.
So, Coach, in your opinion, do you think athletes should get paid to play?
At the collegiate level, I'm not against it. Not against it if they're going to make the system fair to everyone. I know the initial thing is we see football on TV, but you have track, you have, at some schools, I'm just going to name obscure sports like canoeing and bowling, they would have to be compensated as well. It's not just about the one sport, and I know that a lot of times the fans see, again, going back to football and big business, that the money that football generates and things, well, athletes should be paid, and there's some truth to that, and I believe that. But also, you got to be fair and equitable to every athlete at the school, and not every sport generates the type of funds that the other sports generate. So, however they figure that system out, whenever they do, the guy on the swim team has to be receive the same amount that the quarterback on the football team receive at the NCAA level. Now, I'm not talking about the professional level, where you can make a difference, because the NCAA is all about being fair and equitable. So,
how do you keep the struggle and the hustle going as a football coach, and how do you still, keep your momentum to the next level?
Well, the first thing is prayer. God, you have to have a strong faith in who or whatever your faith is. I believe that's number one. Again, tying back into what you're talking about, you have to have a great support system with your family, and your family has to be all in. Your wife has to understand. When she comes into this marriage, that football is similar to the military, and also like pastoring, because a lot of pastors move around to different churches in different cities, and the military, and those things happen. But unlike those two professions, football, you really have to have a strong networking system, because that's how you get your next opportunity. I've been very fortunate to be coaching at the Division II and the 1AA FCS level for 28 years, and without networking, I don't know if I would have been able to stay in it this long. I haven't had really any large gaps in coaching. What I mean by that is missing a season. I first started in 1993 at Tuskegee University, and under Coach Haney Kitchens, one of my mentors, and may he rest in peace. And we were fired in 1996. As a young guy, I was 26 years old, just started coaching, so obviously I didn't know a whole lot of people. But Coach Gary Harper, who was also my assistant head coach at Central State, was the defensive line coach at Tuskegee, and he got a job hired at Morris Brown as defensive coordinator by Joe Crosby, and Coach Crosby offered Coach Harper the opportunity to hire who he wanted to coach on defense, and he chose me, and I was the offensive line coach at Tuskegee at the time. So I always appreciate him having a belief and faith in that I could get the job done for him at Morris Brown. And then that's pretty much my career took off from there. From Morris Brown, when we were let go at Morris Brown, I had an opportunity at Morris College with Anthony Jones. Well, Anthony Jones had worked at South Carolina State with Jim Martin, my head football coach in college, and another one of my mentors. was the athletic director. So I had an opportunity to get an interview with him, and I got the position at Morehouse. And after a year, we transitioned to Alabama A&M. And after being at A&M for 13 years, I was fortunate. I had 4 head coaching interviews while I was there. I won't name the universities right now, but however, when we were let go at Alabama A&M, the Central State job came open, and Dr. Kevin Roll helped me with that opportunity at Central State University, which I'm very, very thankful for, and I tell him that all the time. So, and that's how I got to Central State. Well, when that opportunity and that my contract expired there, my good friend Reginald Ruffin gave me a call and hired me at Miles College. And that's what I'm saying, your network and your just being a great person and your character speaks for yourself, that people will pick up the phone and give you another opportunity. And I'm just so thankful and blessed that I've been fortunate enough to be coaching, like I said, for 28 years and been doing it for 28 years straight.
Coach, a lot of people say they want to coach grad assistant. They say, you know what, if I can coach these players, I should be going to get full time. What's the misconception that a lot of young coaches really think that what coaching is and about to sacrifice what they have to really do?
Well, a lot of time, and it's going to be kind of funny, a lot of time people see, you on Saturdays, and what we call, that's where you see the glory. But you don't understand the struggle and what it takes to get there. You don't understand that each coach's story and what it took to get to that Saturday at 1 o'clock sideline appearance that you see that you want so badly. I take myself, I started out as a grad assistant. You have to start out, most of us have to start out at the bottom, which means a grad assistant, or some coaches volunteer, or some coaches come in part-time, where they have to work 2 jobs sometimes. I take my great friend Cedric Pearl when I got to Morehouse College. He was part-time. He was a defensive line coach, outstanding football coach. But he also had another job at night. And, I never will forget, Sid would work all day at Morehouse, and then at night he would go to another job. And now he's a defensive line coach at Rice University at the FBS level in Conference USA. But that's just one example of how the road can take you. I've seen coaches, volunteer for years and never get an opportunity to coach at the collegiate level. Maybe they have to go to the high school level, which is nothing wrong. At the end of the day, you said you wanted to be a coach, and that's what you're doing, influencing the lives of young men. But every story is different, man. Some guys have a clean, rosy path from, you start as an assistant, and in 5 years, next thing you know, you see the guy as a head coach. A lot of times that's about networking and being in the right place at the right time, and those things happen. But you have to keep the faith and believe in yourself and your abilities, and always work to strive to get better and network. And those opportunities will come, man. And you can't worry about what opportunity one of your peers have gotten and you hadn't, because those are some of the things that will seep into your mind. But again, that's when it comes back to your faith and believing in yourself, and just keep persevering until you reach your goal.
Tell me the importance of HBCUs, in your opinion.
In my opinion, is there to provide opportunity, man. The mission to me has never changed. It's still serving that community that's underserved. We take those young people and we give them opportunity to go to college and get their degree in a smaller classroom, family type environment where the teachers and the students have a relationship. And I think that's the biggest plus about the HBCUs, is that the classroom size, it may be similar or a few more than you had in high school. You get that one-on-one attention from the university, and when I mean by the university, everybody at the university, staff, faculty, not only just your individual instructor, but you may be a business major, and you may find that your mentor is the dean of students. I don't know, or it could be the secretary in the engineering department. because everyone is willing to extend a hand to help the young men and young women that attend HBCU strive and reach their goal to be college graduates. And that's the best thing about attending an HBCU, the pride and the family atmosphere that you have, and that's what I'm talking about, that solid network foundation that you get there. It stays with you for life, man. And I am really proud of the people that I met at Tuskegee University during my time there. A lot of my teammates and fraternity brothers, we're still friends to this day, and I would never trade that experience for anything else. And I understand the larger universities, you know, they have all the bells and whistles, and that's great. But like a great coach told me, you can't take that stadium with you when you graduate. But you can take those relationships that you have and that you made at an HBCU in a small environment and cherish them forever, man. That's what I've only been in the HBCUs, and yeah, we have, just like anything, you know, it's not always perfect. Nothing is, and but you have to take the good with the bad, to me, and there's more good that they do for our young men and women than anything.
Why would you choose Tuskegee University?
First of all, that was an easy choice. It's an outstanding university with an outstanding alums, reputation for education, and just the history surrounded by Tuskegee and Booker T. Washington. My first time on that campus, I was taken by a Tuskegee alum, one of my football coaches, Foster Davis from high school, because I was being recruited by a couple of HBCU schools, Tuskegee, Alabama, and Alabama A&M actually. However, at the time, being a 6'1" offensive lineman, sometimes is not ideal for certain schools, so I wasn't the ideal height for Alabama A&M, according to the coaching staff. So that kind of ruled that out. At the time, Livingston, I know it's West Alabama now. I had some interest from there, but once I took the visit to Tuskegee, it was a no-brainer. Coach Jim Martin made me feel comfortable. He made my parents feel comfortable. He came to my house to do a home visit and brought his little daughter with him. And my mom fell in love then. And then he came back with the whole football staff after that to do another home visit. And you know, after my visit to the campus, and I was sold. You know, beautiful campus, tucked away in Tuskegee, Alabama. It wasn't a hard choice to make at all. You know, and while I was there, of course, again, I wasn't perfect. I had my ups and downs, but Tuskegee and Coach Martin and a lot of my coaches helped me become who I am today. And I really appreciate that. And I know Coach Martin is in heaven, probably grinning and probably saying something he ain't got no business saying. But that's my man. And I say that because when I first got to school, my priorities weren't all together. I ended up having to go back home for a semester. And Coach gave me the opportunity to come back and encouraged me when I got back. And I love Tuskegee so much. I got my bachelor's and my master's from Tuskegee. So that's my home. That's where I kind of grew up. And I'll always be grateful to Mother.
If your younger self from 18 to 24 was watching this interview, what would you tell him today?
I would tell him, like I tell a lot of my younger students, especially, you know, that 18 to 20. I know you said 24, but from 18 to 20, I would tell them to stay focused, man. There's plenty enough time to have a good time. Make sure you stay on the right track. Make sure you go to class every day, because like I said, my freshman year, I misunderstood my goal as to why I was there at Tuskegee University. That first year, we went there. I think we rose all the way to being ranked number 3 in Division II, not HBCU in Division II. So we were winning and having a good time, and everybody on campus was loving us. And you know, being an 18-year-old freshman, you know, I got distracted, and I only focused on you know, the attention and the parties and that kind of thing. and the academics came second. And that's the reason why I had that misstep and had to go back home for a semester and came back. But that's what I would tell that guys, you have time to prioritize your time. You can enjoy. It's 24 hours in a day. You can do anything. At that time you think you know everything, and I was just tell myself to stay focused, slow down, and concentrate on what you say you really want to get out of this education, and continue on and try to make the best decision.
What about from age 27 to 39, Coach? What would you tell your older adult self at this time?
27 to 39, at that time you evaluate those decisions you made at 18 to 24. And I would tell myself, I wish I had stayed on in school and pursued that PhD. After I got my master's, I still talk about it now. But I still would have been coaching football, like a lot of coaches with PhDs. It wouldn't be anything different. But however, I think that was that's one of the biggest things that I would have made sure I accomplished was to get that, and not be sitting here now at 50 saying, man, I can still get my PhD.
What are the misconceptions that people think about you?
I guess one of them would be that I'm mean. I hear that a lot. I guess because some of my facial expressions, I tend to get that from my dad, having that stern look on your face all the time and seriousness. But a lot of time I'm in thought. But however, when I'm on the practice field, now I'm in a mode where it's all business, and being firm about what I say and what I'm telling student athletes in a way that's not derogatory or demeaning them at all. I've always been that way in my career. You can ask any of my former players. I've never attacked anyone personally. But I think off the field, I think they can all tell you once they come in the office that I'm a totally different person. But on the field, I just seem to be more aggressive and focused and driven and intense on the field. And sometimes people mistake that for being mean, but I would do and go to any lengths to help any one of my student athletes, and I think they could all tell.
As a head coach and as a protector, what would you think, in your opinion, is a deal breaker if you had a student athlete that had a great talent, GPA is 3.9, but has some challenges personal wise? Personal wise can mean as in they could be having sticky fingers, they can be accused of inappropriate acts on the campus, or maybe been accused of rape. What are your thoughts about that, Coach?
My thoughts that every team and every university has rules and protocols and regulations that they must follow, and I believe you have to enforce those. But I also believe every crime has to be, and each person has to be treated differently, but fairly at the same time. What I mean by that is, if someone is accused or been proven to have, let's just say, like you said, sticky fingers, maybe shoplifted one time. Here again, we're talking about one time. I do believe in second chances. Again, I was given a second chance and made better choices after that. I know a lot of students that have been given second opportunities and have gone on to be productive citizens in this country and for a long time. But second chances are one thing, third chances are when those opportunities and that player limits his chances of still being in the program. I've had an opportunity to be around a lot of different cases, kids coming into the programs as with their second chance. And as long as they stay on the straight and narrow and the rules that we've set forth, and when they get there and show improvement and development, and they're not living that lifestyle anymore, that's the road that we want them on. Because all of us fall short sometimes, especially young, and when we make irrational decisions that sometimes may affect our whole life. And that's what you try to teach those young men. And like I was saying from the beginning, from the day they come in as freshmen until they leave the university, it's all about the decisions and choices that you make. That's what life is about. So you always have to put yourself around people that are going to make the right decisions and do the right things. And that's how you begin to develop and become a better person. And then in that way, you can take your experience and help somebody that's coming under you. You can always lift somebody up that's coming behind you. But I do believe in second chances. However, once you give in that second chance, you have to follow the rules and comply with everything that we agree upon once you get to the university. Now, once you violate those, then we have to reevaluate your position on the team.
Through the years of your coaching, what type of good or constructive advice that you have received from your mentors to be and to help you execute the man you are today?
Oh, that's great. A lot of things that I've done that you see on my resume come from, again, my mentors uplifting me. Hank Catches, he was the main one when I first started coaching. When he called me that night, I was laying in the group home. I'll never forget it. You want to get your master's? I said, heck yeah, coach. Be here tomorrow. So be here Monday. That's what he said. So I resigned from there, drove down to Tuskegee. That's when I started the master's program down there. But his thing was, to me, if you wanted to be a head coach, you need to get your master's degree. Because at that time, a lot of the HBCUs were requiring master's degrees to be the head coach. It's not that way now. Most time it's bachelor's and master's preferred. But he was from the old school, so he was like, you need to get your master's, you need to get your master's. So he brought me on back to graduate school. I got my master's. A lot of the other coaches talked about the NFL minority internship. I had an opportunity to do those. I thank God for my mentors. Coach Warner Washington, Gary Harper, Joe Crosby. All those guys encourage you to seek out all of the education that you could get. I was fortunate enough to be selected for the NCAA Expert Forum. All of those things was just listening to my elders and then going out and execute. It's one thing to listen to them, like your old mom used to say, going in one ear and go out the other one. But no, at some point in my professional career, because I knew I wanted to be a head coach too, anything that especially people I respected, talked to me about, I tried to go out and accomplish. And I really appreciate those. And that's even from my good friend, Roger Totten. He would always talk about it's responsibility come with coach being in front of your name. There's certain things you can and can't do. All those guys, man, that I really soaked everything in that I was taught as a young coach. And I was very fortunate to meet a lot of older coaches that imparted a lot of wisdom on me, and I received it as well, and I really appreciate it. And I talk to all those guys now. I may not call them every day, but I do reach out to them from time to time. But I still, remember some of the conversations that I had, because I knew I had this goal of being a successful head coach in mind. I've had that opportunity once and look forward to it again. So I just thank a lot of my mentors for the constructive criticism, to pull me back on certain things that you may have seen me going one way professionally, and say, hey man, you need to make sure you're doing this now. I know some guys are doing things this way, but you need to make sure you're doing this, and always doing things the right way. Always being NCAA compliant, because the minute that you're not, universities don't want to hire you. They don't want to hire anybody that's violated anything to do with having NCAA sanctions or violating any kind of rules. So I've always, Gene Bright used to say, win through compliance. When he was the AD at Morris Brown, you got to be win through compliance. And he used to always say that in our staff meetings, athletic department meetings at Morris.
In your opinion, why do you think young athletes really do not take advantage of opportunity when it's presented to them?
A lot of times, I think, it's hard to answer. It may be a lot of different factors. Sometimes it's guidance. Like as a young coach, I was always told you need to have experiences and everything to make yourself attractive as a head coach. That's why, coming up the ranks, I was a recruiting coordinator. I've been the NFL liaison on the staff. I've having to work with financial aid and housing and admissions. So you understand the inner workings of a university. Those NFL minority internships were outstanding experiences for me. So, a lot of times, people feel like, other coaches don't have to, you have internships and be involved in different programs to advance in their career. So some coaches, they say they just don't want to do it because they feel like they should be able to be treated fairly in the profession. But we all understand that the more attractive you are and the more experiences you have, well, what I mean by attractive is on your resume. Not, you're a good looking guy, because I don't know if I'd have got a job based off that. But what I mean by that is your resume being attracted by the different experiences that you had, and you would be attracted to administrators because they see you understand the inner workings of the university. But, a lot of time is guidance, and then it's just a lot of time it's resistance to, well, this guy didn't have to do it that way, so I don't feel like I have to be in special programs or get special help to become a head coach. When I see, some coaches go, like the coach from the New York Giants, just go from being a assistant coach, a special team coordinator one year, and now he's a head coach at the Giants. Everybody's path is different. So you have to make your path the way the Lord has it set for you, and you have to do whatever's necessary to get to that goal that you want to, that you seek to attain. And you can't limit yourself. I don't believe. I go back again to master's degrees and PhDs. I was always told, of course, your bachelor degree is outstanding, but employees, if you come in with a master's degree and 4 people sitting in the room and they have BS degrees, you'll be more attractive to that employee with a master's degree in that area. So you always want to set yourself apart from your peers, because you have your own goals. So I don't know. There's different reasons. Sometimes it's guidance. Sometimes it's resistance that guys don't take advantage of those opportunities. But each person would have to explain that to you. But that's just what I believe. A lot of times it's just either didn't know, didn't have the guidance, or just resisting it because they believe that the system ought to treat everyone the same way, in which we know that's not the case.
What are your thoughts about today's current events, police brutality? You have the police attacking young African American men, busting into people's homes, shooting up young African American women. Just disgraceful. Your points on that?
All of those things are tragic, disheartening. Police brutality. I do want to say this: there are some very good policemen out there. My cousin is a detective with the police department here in Alabama. And my brother also works in the judicial system at the federal level. So I will say, not all cops are bad cops, but for those ones that are bad and have shown to be, there should be no place for them in the police department. We rely on them to protect and serve the community, and that's what they should be about the business of doing. The senseless death of George Floyd obviously didn't have to happen. We all watched that on camera, and it definitely did not have to happen. Being a victim of racial profiling myself, I understand that it can be very frustrating to be have the police pull up on you, and you basically sitting and minding your own business. I just happened to be waiting outside the dance school, getting ready to pick my daughter up from dance, and the police were looking for a suspect and saw me parked. It just pulled up on me and asked me to get out the car and to show my license, put my hands on the truck in front of the dance school and all those things. I filed a complaint. I made a complaint at the police department, but just That's just my instance with the situation. But they've never been victimized and brutally beaten like some of the things that we've been seeing on video around the country now and over the years. This is not a new phenomenon. Obviously, being from Selma, Alabama, we all understand about Bloody Sunday. That was police brutality at its worst, you know, and again, nothing happened to those officers. The federal government had to step in, and then that's when Martin Luther King obviously came back with the second march that was successfully made it to Montgomery for the voting rights. But you know, the police brutality, man, it's just something I really think we should continue to get rid of in our departments, continue to train officers about the different cultures and being and able to stay cool in pressure situations, in situations that get heightened by maybe a lot of people being around, or being in a situation where someone may be mentally ill or even on drugs, and how to really handle that situation without, you know, using deadly force. So, you know, I'm all about the continuous training for those officers and removing those officers that have so many complaints after a while. Because once it's become a pattern, that's when you really have to do something about anybody's behavior. So those are my thoughts on it, man. I just prayers out to all those families, Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, you know, Eric Garner, and the many others that sometimes don't make the national news as well. So, you know, I hope one day, you know, we see that's not even an issue anymore. But it's going to take a lot to change. I think the protest, the peaceful part of it, was a positive in the right direction. You saw people of all different races and sexes out marching for justice. It was not just, you know, solely African Americans out marching. You saw, you know, white Americans, Asians, every nationality. When I turned on the channel, I know and saw the coverage. I saw everyone out there that was appalled about what they saw, and just tired of, you know, police victimizing the citizens. And you know, those kind of cops, like I said again, we can't have.
So let's say if your mom was right here watching this right here, what would you tell her?
I don't know, and that's an honest question. My mom passed. She was 52. I was 32. The last game she watched me coach was Morris Brown versus Alabama A&M, and Alabama A&M won that day. But I think she'd be really proud. I really think she would. To see who I am now, yeah. And I don't know what she would say. She would probably say, "Good job, Cedric." Because one thing she always said, be the best of whatever you know, whatever you decide to be, whatever you decide to do in life, always try to be the best. You know, she's even used to joke, you ain't gonna be nothing, be the best nothing in the world. Be the sorriest joker out there, but be the best at it. So, you know, I've always taken that with me. That's why I always work so hard to try to achieve whatever's in the profession, to reach that goal, the highest level. Like I said, as a coach, you want to be the head coach or athletic director one day. And those are some of my goals. But I think she'll be proud. I know she'll be proud of the way I turned out. And I would love to hear her say something, obviously. But yeah, I miss my mom, obviously. She's been gone a while, but I think she'll be proud.
In music, what type of music you listen to that really gets you pumped up for the next level?
Man, you know, I enjoy all different genres of music, from gospel to rap to hip hop to R&B. But it all depends on the mood I'm in. If a lot of times in the morning when I'm walking, I listen to gospel music. When I start barbecuing and cut my grill on, I got to get to that blues, that Tyrone Davis, and Johnny Taylor, and that group, Lil B.B. King. But now when it's time for football, get ready for a game or something like that. I'm an Ice Cube guy, so I always just pull out America's Most Wanted CD, or nowadays, download it or listen to YouTube or whatever for a game type situation. But I enjoy all types of music, man. It just all depends on what we're doing at that time. But from Ice Cube all the way to Leandra Johnson, Mary J. Blige, those are some of my favorite people. Anthony Hamilton, those are some of the people that I really like listening to. Kurt Franklin and some of the newer guys, Dietrich Haddon, and like I said, Johnny Taylor and what's my man name from Birmingham, Sir Charles. All of that's my go-to.
Coach, if we did a movie or book about you, what would the title of that movie be?
I would have to say determined, because I'm always striving and have aspirations to accomplish goals I set out for myself, and I try to achieve those at all costs. So I'm always determined to get better, to strive to reach the top. So that's what I think would be a great title for it.